What is up, YouTube? It's KM888 here, and finally for you guys I have the updated version of my worm deck. Some of you guys have been asking me a lot about it, and here I finally am. I finished the deck. I wanted to make some changes with the new set that came out. And yeah, I finally made them. I know it's pretty late since the format's almost dead, but don't worry, my deck is practically already done for the next format as well. I only need to take some things out and put other things in, so which I already know basically, so yeah, but for this format it's still this, so yeah, let's get into the deck profile. First of all, conform the usual triple Worms X. It is your best worm that you have. It sets up your combo plays with Worm Jagen, which I play 2 of still. I backed down from 3 again, because I really don't want to see it anymore. Shaddoll isn't live, so 2 Jagen is enough. And with Imperial Iron Wall, you basically keep this card in check. You keep it in the game, so because of that. Only 1 card throws now. The game is progressing into a really fast pace. The card throws, if you go first and you have it, it's good. But if you go second and you draw it, it's terrible because it wastes another turn in which you can't do anything. You really need it at 1 still because you need more worms, but until there are better worms I don't think I'm gonna change this. Maybe a 3rd Jagen sometimes, depending on the format, but yeah, that's it for the worms already. The one of Thunder King. Thunder King is awesome, it's still really great. In the upcoming formats, this thing rocks, it's really good. 1 Traptrix Myrmelio might seem weird next to the Thunder King because it has to search, but you hardly ever see them together. It really doesn't matter, and if you see this in your opening hand you get an additional trap, so it's really good. So yeah. And then a more surprising part, I've actually cut my hands, the Fire and the Ice hand, because they clog too much in my hand. I always drew them and it was terrible after a while, especially since I'm playing the Card of the Mice build right now. So more monsters that you have to normal summon is actually bad, so yeah, this is like all of the monsters that you're probably going to normal summon in a match. But I still have some monsters. I have a triple Guiding Ariadne. Because, well, I play a lot of counter traps, so, and this thing is really important because if I have it in the scale, I don't have to pay for it, for all my counter traps. And the second thing is, if I do normal summon it and it gets destroyed, I get another counter trap, so it searches me another thing. It's a really good card. It's also a light, so it works together with some of my worms to make exceeds. And yeah, another important part is that I can now pendulum summon in my deck if I do brick, because I also run 1 Archfiend Eccentric in the main. It's a scale 3 to 7, and the cards are really great with Card of the Mice, because if you draw them, if you already have another monster, you can just set it in your scale, and yeah, you don't lose it. Also, if you have an Eccentric in the scale, your opponent is more than likely going to be really cautious about what spell or trap they're going to set. So the Eccentric really comes in handy there. Yeah, it is actually working out for me, and I don't think I'm gonna cut this in the next format, so yeah. That's already it for the monsters. Now up to the spells. A lot of draw cards, you're gonna see that. I'm still playing the 1 instant fusion for Norden, because Norden is love, Norden is life. It's an instant rank 4 for me, and in my deck, which is pretty slow, that's actually important, so yeah, the 1 instant fusion. And then draw cards. I'm running triple Card of the Mice. The Mice is amazing, it's a god card in this deck, just draw more back row. I don't think it deserves a hit on the ban list, on the forbidden list, because the only meta decks that are running it at the moment is actually Cosmo, in my opinion. Like, Klee the Mice isn't meta, it's like Rogue, and which is my deck as well, so, and if Rogue can use this to combat the meta, I think it's a good card, and it should stay. Like, it's a time bomb, I know that, but as long as there isn't any big-ass meta deck that actually uses it, it's not that broken. And if it's only Cosmo, which they have to hit anyway, then the Demise is hopefully going to stay, so yeah. Next up, double Pot of Desires. I know what you're thinking. Desires, oh my god, click, get this video out of here, this bullshit video. No, Pot of Desires is in here because you want to progress your field turn 1. And that additional 1 trap card that you're going to draw of the Pot of Desires is actually going to win you games like you can't even imagine. In a back row deck like mine, you often win turn 1. Like if you can set 5 with a monster, with an Ariadne in your scale, and then the opponent goes summon, you negate everything and they only have 1 card left or something, you are going to progress even further with things like Desire and Card of the Mice, and you're going to take the game from there on. So these cards are the nuts. They are really needed in the deck. Next up, to get to those combo pieces, double Pot of Duality and 1 Upstart Goblin. I see what you guys think. Why not 3 Duality? Why still the Upstart Goblin? Well, I only play 2 Duality because I still want to special summon. Like, if I have Desires, I can special summon, and the Zex Jägen combo is very prominent in my deck. Also, Instant Fusion is a thing, and I also play Call of the Haunted, which you'll see later. So Pot of Duality is actually at 2, it's amazing, but at 3 it's clogs too much. And the Upstart Goblin is in here because I might be running a deck that's over 40 cards because of the Desires. But it either is a card that allows me to go further into the deck, or it is a free card that gets banished with the Desires. So I really love the Upstart in here, so yeah. That's it for the spells. As you can see, only 1 Instant Fusion and then all drawing, so if you draw a spell, you're more than likely going to progress your game state. For the traps, triple W Nebula Meteorite, even more drawing. I really can't rephrase this enough. Drawing in this deck is amazing right now. It just brings you closer to all of your trap cards. Like, as you can see, I have a lot of traps to go through, and drawing a lot is important. So yeah, triple Meteorite. Counter traps, the 1 Solemn Warning, triple Solemn Strike. You really have to run this, in my opinion. Most people run 2 strikes, but I think 3 is really necessary. And with Guiding Ariadne in my deck, it's actually amazing because I never have to pay. That's amazing. Next to these counter traps, I'm running the 1 Chaos Trap Hole. It's still really good even when Cosmo and Mars would be gone. It's still handy against ABC, it's good against Blue Eyes. So yeah, actually Chaos Trap Hole might actually lift this format. It's such a good card. I opted not to run 2 because if I don't have the Ariadne, this card is really expensive, so yeah. And then more or less a surprise in my deck maybe, 2 Ultimate Providence. I was really contemplating for things like Starlight Road, Huge Revolution is over, just to negate things like Raigeki, Darkhold, those mass destruction cards. But they weren't cutting it for me, and I always drew them when I didn't need them, and it's so frustrating, like drawing the Huge Revolution thinking you're safe for a Twin Twister, and then they don't use Twin Twister because they didn't draw it, and they just go Slip Rider, pop, or they go Break Sword, pop. So you have to waste your Huge Revolution is over to protect 1 card, and then they go Twin Twister, and oh my god, it's so annoying when things like that happen. So bricking with it wasn't really good, so I opted to go into Ultimate Providence instead. If I do have the Ariadne, it's free, so it's awesome. It can negate anything that I want. If I do have a card in my hand, I can still use it even if I don't have Ariadne, so it's not that as much. A third one, I tried it, I drew it too much outside of the Ariadne, so I couldn't use it then. So 2 is the way to go in my opinion. I'm running 7 counter traps. It's a lot, so I can get off some Ariadnes if I really want to. Then, double Breakthrough Skill. Breakthrough Skill is amazing right now. You have things like Infinity, the ABC Dragon Buster, then for Pendulums you got the Fusion, the Vortex Dragon. This thing can negate them both like 2 times, and that's really important. You can negate it in your own turn to negate their plays. Like even Hope Harbinger, you can just negate it from your graveyard, get off that demise, set 3, and go from there. So yeah, breakthrough skill is really important. It's also a reasonable good card to discard even for your card of demise when you do need to discard something. So yeah, because of that. Then we got some summon stoppers in Torrential Tribute, Bottomless Trap Hole, and Time Space Trap Hole. I am contemplating the Floodgate Trap Hole because it sets everything face down, but in my deck it's kind of weird to put things face down. Like I do play Triple Meteorite, which makes sure that things get flipped up again. So the Floodgate Trap Hole isn't that prominent. But when you look at things, like just clogging their field might actually still be good. So I am contemplating one Floodgate Trap Hole as well in this deck, so that might be something for the next metagame. So yeah, I'm definitely looking out for that. Then double Quaking Mirror Force and one Storming Mirror Force. It's the same like before that I said with the Floodgate. The Quaking Mirror Forces are still good, but sometimes I doubt that I shouldn't have played that double Storming with one Rippling, stuff like that. Well, Drowning Mirror Force. So yeah, it's just a little bit awkward sometimes, but if you play it right, it's still okay. Then one Vanity's Emptiness, Floodgate.deck isn't really the thing with me, but I do play a couple of Floodgates. Vanity's Emptiness and double Imperial Iron Wall. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh my god, he plays Imperial Iron Wall, he plays Pot of Desire, it's totally going to clog, it's totally going to brick. I play 44 card deck right now. Most of the time they see Pot of Desires really early on, and I don't see the Imperial Iron Wall, and I still get them off. And if in the rare opportunity that I do get Imperial Iron Wall with Pot of Desires, when the Imperial Iron Wall is active, you can just sit and wait because they do want to destroy that Iron Wall, and it's still a good cost for the Ultimate Providence if you need it. So yeah, it's still pretty decent. Even for next meta, like it counters ABC, it counters Blue Eyes, it's really good. And then the last 2 cards, double Call of the Haunted. Card is busted. Just bring back the monsters that you really need, because the deck actually doesn't play that much monsters, and you really need to Call of the Haunted to extend your plays. It's also really good if you have the Norden, because Norden allows you to special summon something else. So this is actually a +1. So yeah, that was it for the main deck. 44 cards. It isn't much if you count in that I have Double Desire and all those draw power. So I have a really good chance to draw into the draw power. So yeah, 44 cards is really good right now. Yeah. For the extra deck, the one Fusion, the one Norden, the card is still busted. So yeah. Then, to extend my plays, King of the Feral Limbs searches me another card. Daigusto Emerald to draw something and to recycle monsters. Also really important because I don't have that many monsters, so Daigusto Emerald is really needed. And one Bujinte Tsukuyomi. Most of the cards in my deck are light monsters. Just overlay, go into Tsukuyomi, draw 2 more. It's really amazing, especially like when you don't have any back row, you only have 1 card in hand or something, and there's the demise, and you draw a demise. You can still set 5 until the end of your turn, so it's really good. That was it for extending my plays. When you go to have to make an exceed in your main phase 2, you're probably going to make one of these. The Giant Hand, negate monster effects. The Dweller to negate anything from your opponent's graveyard. It's really important. And the Steel Swarm Roach. Roach is there for also for things like ABC, Blue Eyes. It's like all the synchro variants right now. The Shiranui Solitaire builds, the Yangzing Metal Foe. So yeah, it's really important. My deck doesn't really OTK, but when you have to go for damage, yeah, you need to run things, so yeah. One Dark Rebellion, just to run over things. It's really good. It's amazing. If you use it on the Blue Eyes, this thing becomes 4,000. So it can even crash with Chaos Max if you need it, so it's amazing. 1 Diamond Crab King, 3000 deck is nothing to write home upon. It's really good, 3000. The 1 Heartland Draco, when you need to steal a game. I know it's a dirty way of winning, but in my deck it's really awesome because I also play Pendulums, which means that I can make it and they can't attack it. So if you just protect the turn, this thing alone is 4000 damage. In worst case scenario, you can even recycle it with an Emerald and do 8000 damage if you really need to, but that's like the worst case, I think, where you can't get over something and you really need to do that. It is an option. And then the 1 Gaga Cowboy, Game Maker for days, Game Maker for years already. It's a great card, so yeah. And the last 4 cards, basically cards that get rid of monsters for me. I need to run these, I think, so... 1 Starly Dynamo. Since most of my deck is now light, this thing is amazing. It negates a monster effect. Sure, I have to target, but it negates a monster effect and puts that monster's attack at 0. Putting it at 0 means I'm definitely going to do 2000 damage with this. And when it gets destroyed, I still get to draw a card, so it's really good. Castel, Skyblast the Musketeer. Just bounce something, do 2000 damage. They're practically also game stealers, but hey. They're really good to get rid of monsters. The 101, it's still a great card in my opinion. And lastly, Number F0, Utopic Future. When you have to make it, and you can, it's there. I really need it, so yeah. Remember guys, this is Europe. I don't have access to Utopia the Lightning. I do have one, but I'm not allowed to play it in tournaments, so it's kind of sad. But yeah, as soon as I can play it, I'm definitely going to include it in the deck, so yeah. I still have my side deck to show you guys, so I'm definitely going to. First of all, triple fucking. At the moment, Monarchs is still alive. Kaijus are used everywhere, so the fuckings are actually really good. And with a lot of back row, with a lot of draw power, I can actually draw into these, so it's really, really important for me. Next up on the list is one of my personal favorites, but really a good tech card at the moment, I think. It's something surprising, but I'm still going to show it. Winged Dragon of Frost Sphere mode. At the moment I'm playing 1. I want to bump it up to 2 as soon ABC comes out, because then big fields are going to happen more. But this thing is really amazing. It's even under Card of Demise. It's the tributing your monsters counts as a normal summon instead of a special summon like Kaijus or Lava Golem, which are dead if you draw them from Card of Demise. If you draw this from Demise, you can still normal summon it over your opponent's monsters. So it's amazing with what kind of synergy this card has with the Card of Demise. It gets rid of big fields, like if your opponent has a Hope Harbinger, if he has Infinity, if he has that ABC Dragon Buster. You can just tribute all 3 of them at once, summon this over it. Next turn you're going to get it back, and the opponent cannot target it for attacks nor card effects. So this thing will sit there. It will sit there for days if they aren't able to get over it. It's just such an amazing card. I really love it. And then for the last 2 monsters of the side deck, 2 more Archfiend Eccentrics. Believe me, I know Royal Decree is coming in. This card is so important at the moment. Then it's so good just to be able to put this into your scale, pop a back row. And then extend your plays. If they have a decree, the Eccentric is going to save you, so yeah. Then for spells, we have triple system down. I know, again, it clogs with Imperial Iron Wall, but it's just to have more out. Like, if you have Iron Wall against Cosmo, you're going to win anyway. If you have the system down against Cosmo, but you don't have the Imperial Iron Wall, this thing will make sure that you are going to be able to live some more turns, so... the Imperial Iron Wall is good, but this thing helps it, and it's really needed. Again, that's it for the spells. I'm not playing Raigeki right now because I really don't mind big boards as much. I have the amount of back row I can get over things, so yeah. Again, for Monarchs and for things that tribute, the Mask of Restrict at 3. I can't run Veiler. I have Card of the Mice. Hand traps are awful in my deck. Mask of Restrict, on the other hand, is really good still. Monarchs was my worst matchup this meta game, so the Mask of Restrict was definitely needed. Stormfort is a bitch card. The Restrict helps me to get over that. And then the final card of my side deck, 3, Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this card, but it's really great. The card basically says, all face-up level 6 or higher special summoned monsters on the field cannot declare an attack or activate their effect. Now, what does that mean? Blue Eyes. Every single Blue Eyes monster that they summon, even the Chaos Max, even the alternate, they can't activate their effects, they can't attack. Sure, they can go in Hope Harbinger, but with all my back row, if I just need to stop a Harbinger, it isn't a problem. ABC, the Dragon Buster, all the Karakuris, if they run the Karakuri variant, they can't activate. This thing makes sure that all the big things from those decks get stopped. Against Synchro players, Shiranui, the Yang Zings, everything that comes out. Malphos, they're all high level, like the things that they special summon. Grave makes sure that they can't do a thing. This card is amazing and I really love it. So yeah, at 3. So guys, that was it for my Worm deck. I really hope you liked it. And maybe if you have some pointers for me, I'll definitely look into them. I'll explain why I run things, why I don't run things, of course, in the comments. And I do think I'm going to make a video with some combo plays that you can do in this deck, or maybe just some duels on devpro, because it's always fun to watch how the deck works, so yeah. If you have some more questions, if you want to see another build of mine, just ask, maybe I'll do it. So yeah. If you liked it, of course, like that video below. It just supports me. If I see more likes, I'm more inclined to do videos. Subscribe to my channel if you really love my videos. It's awesome to see. And comment below for questions, like always. So yeah, see you guys. Bye.